Hey, how you doing? Welcome back to another Clarity with us, Sims Media. I'm Steve Sims. This is Henry Sims, and we welcome you to another one of our just chit chats, really, to go over the world of media, what's happening, what we're noticing, and the people that have messaged us what their actually concerns are within the world of communication and branding, and quite simply getting that sale that they need. Today, we're going to be talking about chatbots. Now, before we kind of like generalize it too much, we need to make sure that we confirm what we're talking about. We're not against chatbots. We're kind of against the AI version. Now, we know, as Peter Diamandis says, the computers are going to be able to think and react like a human, better than a human within years, not decades. But at this moment in time, you've got to ask yourself this question. Let's lead it right in here. Is your business a solution-based business, or is it aspirational? Now, let me explain that a little bit. If you're a solution-based business like headache tablets, drain cleaner, parts, things like that, then you don't need to have a communication, or more importantly, an experience and an emotional trigger. But if you're aspirational, it's all about that emotive trigger, isn't it? You think about it, you go into Tiffany, you buy something, you pick them in, that takes 5 seconds, and then it takes 25 minutes for them to package it and put it in wrapping and put the little blooper. It's all of that add-on that gives you that emotion of, this is a Tiffany box. I remember speaking to a gentleman the other day, and they said that when they were making and building and constructing, and I'm using those words purposefully, the Apple brand, they made sure that the unpacking actually created some kind of tension and excitement. And I heard something stupid, like it actually takes 3 seconds to take the lid off a box of an Apple product because it builds up that excitement. They actually timed it that much. So what we want to talk about today is really, first of all, the deciding factor. Is your business one that wants to create an emotional trigger or not? And if it doesn't, don't worry about that as a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Think of Amazon. Amazon is hugely successful because it creates no emotional trigger. I want toilet roll. I've got toilet roll. Okay? So that creates no emotional trigger. But if you're going to go and buy jewelry, you know full well you could probably buy a better diamond down in the jewelry district, but you'll go to Cartier or you'll go to Tiffany because it's got that little box and it's got all the wrappings and packages. And more importantly, it creates that euphoria of walking through the store, the doorman opening the door, and all those kind of things. So those are kind of real life things, but digitally, today, we still need to concentrate on the user experience. We hear that word a lot, the brand identity, the emotive trigger. So one of the common things is chatbots. Hey, they get our communication out the window. How much is that costing you? Not in the price of the chatbot, and maybe once it finally gets to an agent, that agent being in India, nothing against Indian call centers, we've used them before, but it takes so long. We want to know how important is the cost of you actually speaking with a live person against it. Before we jumped on, you said that you'd been working out some figures and you've been getting some stats on this, Henry.
Yeah, there was an interesting one that based off of what you just said there. And this was by a company that has a chatbot and messenger tool for websites. And so they even said that 60% of consumers would prefer to wait for an agent than use a chatbot. And a lot of that goes to the trust and understanding the needs of talking to a person. When we're talking with people, we can empathize and understand and work out really complex thoughts and situations, give opinions even. And so we have a lot of confidence in being able to talk to a person and that they'll understand our needs. And so the concern with chatbots and a lot of technology is the attempt to remove connection. And a lot of business owners see that as an optimization in their business. Hey, if I can put a chatbot in place and remove the support team or even me front facing, then I'm saving a lot of money. And then that's improving the margins of my business. But like you were saying, how much is that costing you to the brand? How much is that costing the trust of who is engaging with you? Is it better to spend those extra dollars and hours communicating one-on-one with people? Or is it better to put a chatbot in place that could potentially put a little disconnect with your brand? And so that's where it does go back to it's a balance of what type of business it is, and how intensely you're using the technology. Because I'm a geek. I absolutely love chatbots. And when I first started playing around with ManyChat when it came out, I was obsessed. I just found it fun if I was having lunch to see what I could build and make it do and predict conversations. But the thing was, the first chatbots that I truly built and put out there didn't do very well because they were too complex. They were trying to predict too much of the conversation, carry too much of the conversation, and replace too much of the human interaction. And so what I did was I started looking at how far down the line people were cutting off, and overall what they were trying to do. If they were putting custom messages in, seeing what their goal was of using that chatbot. And so most of the time I found that I was condensing it so much to basically just like 2 options of the most frequent questions that people needed addressed immediately or needed help on guidance on where to go. But then the third option was how you could contact us or how we could actually talk. And that way you hit the major goal of what chatbots is, which is it's 24/7 immediate response. That is the strong point to chatbots. But at the same time, you're giving people an option to communicate one-on-one because that's incredibly valuable. And when I did that, people, the clients that I was working with, they thought this is too simple. Like, I'm not getting my money's worth. But the conversions were going up and more conversations were being had because people weren't getting turned away from being annoyed at the chatbot. They were happy that, yeah, I know there's an option to talk to people, but there's these 2, like they quite often hit their immediate need right away. But if not, we weren't trying to hide. There was a way to contact people and it worked so much better. So chatbots are awesome, but the concern is the intent of why people are using them. A lot of the time it's to hide away and remove themselves entirely from having to talk to people.
That's you hit it head on there. A lot of people are looking at that kind of interaction as an expense. It's your brand. The communication you have is your brand. I'm going to name a company now, which a lot of people out there will remember. It doesn't really exist in its format that it did before, sadly, because of the demise of Tony. Zappos. Now, and you know this, I got kids. And kids are horrible with shoes because they scuff them up, they ruin them. They also grow out of them within what seems to be days. So you're constantly buying sneakers. When Zappos came along, I could literally just almost do a recurring order for all of my kids. Zappos was my holy grail of getting kids shoes, and anything that was ever needed, whether it was for your school, dressing up, casual, kicking around, whatever, I was straight onto Zappos. But I got consumed and addicted to Zappos because of how Tony actually did the most amazing customer interaction. And when you would actually contact the support, it would say straight away, press 1 for a live person, press 2 for a joke of the day. Now, I don't know how many of you out there remember that, but they literally used to have a joke of the day. And when I start buying online, the first thing we want to do whenever we work with anybody, the first thing we want to do is know we can trust that person. Now, trust comes in the format that if something goes wrong, because everything's brilliant when it's going right, but you really see the solid, the true colors of someone when it goes wrong. Now, when I'm going to spend money on the internet, I want to know that if something goes wrong, you're going to be there to answer it. So I literally would buy a pair of sneakers or about to order them, And I'd contact Zappos just to find out, oh, what if I wanted to take the stupidest questions that are obviously on that website, but this person established trust with me that I never had to worry about that. And by them also doing the joke, it gave me another element. Now, I know a few times I used to go on Zappos, and I wonder if any of our people here on the chat want to admit it, but how many of you actually used to push number 2 and listen to the actual joke of the day? I know I did a lot. So Zappos did incredibly well by building, quite simply, a culture of, hey, you can talk to us. Now, on our last Cloudy call that we did, we actually spoke about know the temperature of your room. And we actually spoke about how today people have got so much noise coming at them, so many ways of communication. They want to get down to the crux of one person being relatable to another. Now, as human beings, and I know there's a few of you out there that don't think you are, but we're imperfect. You know, we don't say things right. We're out of context. So, you know, we mumble. We're not perfect. So when an AI is getting better and better and better, it's going to actually have to learn how to become imperfect for us to be able to relate to it. Because when we talk to a human being and they fluff up their lines and they go, hey, how you doing? Hey, what's the sunshine like? Just that tonality lets us know that we're talking to a real person. And in today's digital economy, world status, whatever you want to call it, we want to cut through that noise and actually connect with another human being. And how you use your chatbots, if you use them in a format that it quickly gets through to a live person and they can have that interaction with them, that's a great thing, no matter where the call centers are. You know, someone made a comment here about they hired a person in the Philippines, India, Pakistan, Mexico. These are great locations where a friend of mine actually told me he's got a call center. Shout out to Craig Handley. He said they've got a call center down in Mexico, and they would actually bring people in to talk to them about dialect and accent and terminology. So as you're flipping through your statements, they understand what you're saying and they can relate it back to you by also using that same statement. It's when you get these people that don't know how to interact with you within your dialect, your street lingo or whatever, that there's the disconnect. Quite simply, an AI will be just as good as that. So we're not saying boo-woo to chatbots. We're saying use them in the right way that they should. And when you're looking at your balance sheet, stop looking at how much it's going to cost you, whether or not to have it or not, and ask yourself, how much is it going to cost you to do it ineffectively? That could actually be far worse. We mentioned ManyChat. We actually were very fortunate. We actually hung out in the headquarters during one of our speakeasies at the headquarters of ManyChat, and it was absolutely incredible. But what do you think of the future of chatbots is going to be?
I think the future of it is going to be more adopted. When I was trying to look last night, I think they were saying crazy things. I didn't actually realize how far it had grown, but I think businesses with like 500 plus teams, I think 80% of them had adopted chatbots in some form. So a lot of people have got chatbots now. And I think it was something like 40% of entrepreneurs as well. And I think that was probably from 21 or early 22. So it's probably gone up from there. I think the adoption of it is going to be more, and the feature development from it is going to be more because of push notifications and the connectivity of it. It is a great tool to connect if you use it in that way, because ManyChat has expanded and it does Instagram automation and direct messaging. It does the Facebook Messenger one. It has the ability to capture emails and phones so that you can link it through to your SMS text notifications and email notifications. So you've hit all these different channels to be able to outreach to your clients and your audience. So it's a really effective tool, and to kind of get rid of it it doesn't solve the problem that we're talking about. That tool can help us communicate even better with everyone around us. So the future of it is expanding, and I'm happy to see the tools that they're incorporating into it. But they're even making little changes to suppress how much outreach you can do and making sure people truly opt in for it so that it's not unwanted blasting and all this stuff. Because again, that isn't connecting, that's just spam. And so I think ManyChat is doing really well with it. But I think the chatbot technology is great as a communication tool. And I think we just need to look at how are we trying to connect with our clients? What are each of those touch points in that customer journey that they talk to us, that they find new information, that they get involved, that they go through to a sales call? Any of your steps, what is that interaction like? Where can it be guided? And chatbots, I think that's the biggest thing. Being 24/7 immediacy and response, that is an option, an ability to guide you in the right direction. And if it gets the answer, cool. But that shouldn't take over everything. There's certain businesses, like you said, where if it's just I need this product, send it to me, then sure, there's more leniency. But when it's more personal, when it's a more of a sales type conversation, finding different programs for you, or if it's like a fitness trainer and there's different programs and stuff, you're going to want to talk to someone to make sure that they understand your body, your diet, and all that, and can help point you in the right direction. So there's lots of ways that we still need to connect one-on-one. And chatbots give us the tools to connect far quicker and deeper, but we need to be careful not to use it as spam.
Yeah, we mentioned ManyChat a few times. We're not paid by ManyChat. We've just used them for when we built some of our sites for some of our clients. But there's Intercom. There's a whole bunch of them out there. So look through the different options for you. Also, there was one statement you made there about the emergency or the urgency of which they respond to you. You can use chatbots as also another way of people connecting with you, that it doesn't have to be answered immediately. I've gone on before when I've wanted details on something and the little pop-up windows come in, and I've conveniently gone in there and asked a question, and the response has come up saying, hey, we're getting our beauty sleep at the moment, but if you give us your name and email, we'll come back to you straight away in the morning. And I've gone, well, my message is already there, so why don't I just add my name? And I've done that as well. So you can use that. What I'm a little bit concerned about is, and I think there's a great place for it. I know a lot of our websites we build for our clients actually have that format or something like that in there. But I'm also concerned with people that grab a chatbot into that system because they think it's the shiny object they have to have. You don't have to have a chatbot. The first thing you need to ask yourself before you get a chatbot, how many clients do you actually want? If you want 3 clients, then maybe you don't have to have a fulfillment center style chatbot. Maybe they could just reach out to you. You could put a Calendly link on there and you can have a phone call, like the personal trainer. But if you're doing something where you're actually dealing in volume, then yes, the chatbot situation does come in and it's more effective. So how many people are you trying to get as clients? And then what chatbot's going to work best for you? And again, you can also just have it as a pop-up way of another form of communicating without them having to go all the way down to the bottom and finding the contact us page or your email. So know your number and know the point of it, and don't be taken over by the fact that it's a shiny object. You say about being a nerd and a geek. I second that. You definitely are. But do you feel that people just try to find the latest piece of technology and go, oh, I've got to put that on my website, before really asking themselves, do they need it?
Well, yeah, I think that is incredibly standard for a lot of entrepreneurs. We see something, it's new, and we're constantly trying to move forward. So it's sometimes it bites you, sometimes you land on your face doing it, but that's how you do move forward. So that is why a lot of people have adopted the chatbots. It's just purely, it's new, I'm going to try it. But yes, there is a lack of true strategic thought that goes behind it. And so that's just where we need to be more conscious of exactly the tools we're using and how we're using them. And like you said, with going to the website and using that chat box that comes up to put a message and then it says, hey, we'll come back to you. And that's awesome because you know that that is real person interaction, or it could be a chat bot and they're just faking it. But the ManyChat tool, and a lot of them now, you can have an initial little directory thing like I was talking about with a couple options to help guide you along the way. But there is the option to chat and outreach directly to a person. And that would be then the situation that you're just talking about. So you can have this front facing chatbot to help guide you, and then the option to reach out and know that that interaction is coming. So it can be done very nicely. But that's where we just need to be careful as early adopters of new technology and methods is we do want to try them and see what we can do, but we do need to take a little bit more thought just to make sure that we're not damaging any of the interaction with our clients by blocking them and trying to utilize a chatbot to remove ourselves. So we just need to see how's that conversation with our clients, what's that journey and experience that they have with us, and is chatbots and that kind of technology possibly going to get in the way, or can we use it tastefully and effectively?
Perfectly well said. If anyone's got any questions and they want to contact us, we don't have a chatbot. Here's a funny thing. We build a lot of chatbots out for our clients, but we don't have a chatbot. We have something called a clarity call. So if you want to visit sims.media or book a clarity call because you have questions that we may be able to help you, then it's a real person that's going to jump on that clarity call with you and go over whether or not you're going down the right path or whether or not we can help you at all. But Henry, thank you very much for doing this one. We like these. These are here for you. We're not sponsored by anyone, or maybe we should be. Won't be hair products, that's for sure. But if you've got a question, if you've got a statement, if you've got an issue, if you've got a concern, if you hate it, love it, whatever, DM us, and then we'll do the next clarity with Sims Media Live on that subject. So anything else to add before we just sign off?
No, I don't think so. Just be very aware and have intent to how you're interacting with your clients.
Intent, you heard it there. All right, folks, have a good one. Do something powerful, and we'll see you on the next clarity call. See you later.